Moving Forward with Arthritis with Sharon Caddy.
Well, hello and welcome to another episode of Moving Forward with Arthritis. I'm Sharon Caddy, and I'm so glad you decided to come along and join today. Remember that you can always find all of the episodes on your favorite podcast platform on YouTube. Make sure you click to subscribe or to follow along, because you'll always get updated when there are new episodes to check out. Also, join us on all of our social media, and I guess the best way to go, honestly, go to movingwitharthritis.com, and there are links to all the social media. It's kind of a one-stop shop. Well, today we're going to be talking about something that if you do live with arthritis, sometimes we do as much as we can on our own, but sometimes if you have the right tools, it's just like doing any job. If you've got the right tools, it's a lot easier to get things done, get them done well, efficiently, and without hurting yourself. And I think that's the biggest one when it comes to arthritis. So for this, I'm bringing back my friend Margaret Wallis-Duffy to join once again. Hey there, Margaret.
Hi, Sharon. Thanks for having me back. I'm excited about our conversation today.
My pleasure. Well, and as we've had you on before, the Margaret Wallis-Duffy is a registered massage therapist. You are a therapist. You are a preventive health advocate. Before we jump into all this today, we are actually recording this not long after the end of Preventative Health Awareness Month. Your second one. How did it go?
Actually, it's the fourth one, Sharon.
Fourth one. I thought it was the second one.
No, it's four. Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
It was epic. It was a real turning point this year. You know, this grassroots Health Canada recognized movement that started on my own 4 years ago, now with over 90 healthcare professionals from all disciplines, giving their expertise through the month of February to stock the toolbox of Canadians to be the CEO of their health. But now all levels of government are engaged in conversations, insurance companies, corporations. We're really on a mission to change the legacy of healthcare in Canada from this reactive to a more preventative, proactive, and patient-empowered, which is why conversations like yours today, ours today, and what you're doing with this podcast is so important, Sharon. I just want to commend you for that because, you know, as a therapist that owned a clinic for 30 years, I've treated a lot of people living with different forms of arthritis. And it's really important to have empowered, evidence-informed tools so that you can feel that you can take some control of your health in collaboration with your healthcare team. And so that's what this movement is about. So it is blowing up this year, and all year long it becomes the movement. And podcasts like this are really important to continue to get that message out.
Now, you mentioned all the professionals that are involved, which is great. But now that you've been at it for a while, what kind of feedback have you gotten from the public?
You know what? It is, my phone blows up, emails, Instagram messages, when we're doing live events. It is incredibly, I'm proud and humbled to be leading this movement, but to see the impact it's making. People are craving a change in our healthcare system. They want to help themselves, but they don't know how. And this movement gives them a platform and connection to all kinds of healthcare professionals so that they can learn, they can trust, but they can, as I say, get into the driver's seat and be empowered to take control over their health, because we can't be passive participants. Regardless of what diagnosis you get, if you don't play an active role, you're the most important member of the healthcare team, then you can go down a path that isn't good. So the feedback has been humbling, overwhelming, and quite frankly is what fuels me to keep going. This is a grassroots unfunded movement. We're raising funds to make this happen, but I'm here for it because it is making a massive impact.
That's great. And I think just listening to what you just said, though, the word that jumped out to me was trust. And the reason that did is that, yes, we have computers and we can type in and ask a question and you get information. But the question is, who's giving you that information? Or not? Maybe it is a trusted source, but maybe it's from 2012. Like, things evolve. There's research, there's new information, and actually having a resource to go to that is up to date. There are trusted professionals there. I commend you for putting that together because that's what we need.
Well, thank you for recognizing that. And that's why I bridged the gap. When I sold my clinic 4 years ago, I was being called to do something bigger. And I knew I needed to try to bridge that gap, to bring healthcare professionals together, to break down the silos in healthcare. So professionals from both sides, complementary and conventional medicine, could learn and grow from one another, bring new resources, new technologies, to the public in a wide range of ways. So there's a podcast and TV show. There's a blog. We have over 1,000, actually, I think it's 1,100 subscribers on a blog and advertise. That just shows you how much this is needed. We have a directory, the first of its kind. And my goal this year during the Preventative Health Movement, 4 years ago, when no one knew what PHAM was, I worked with someone smarter than me to create a directory, an integrative and preventative health directory that I hope will become a trusted go-to resource for family health teams. What it does is allows you to search by type of practitioner, but here's the game changer. If you have arthritis, Sharon, you know that you don't need just one member on your healthcare team. You need a plethora of an integrative team, and you're the most important member of that team. There is not an integrative directory. There is now. The PHAM directory was built and exists so that you can search by condition and help to find your own integrative health team. And this will also, as we grow this, serve as a tool for family health teams that are burnt out, that don't have time and want to find the right professional. Because you're right, influencers on Instagram doesn't mean they're necessarily, and sadly, there's been big cases recently of people that we could trust, even physicians, that you have to do your homework. So I'm vetting the people in this directory, and we're going to grow this so that everyday people can find their team, and family health teams know a resource that they can send to, and we're going to grow this over the years to come.
Fantastic. And we can add into that toolbox that you'll be visiting me from time to time on this podcast. So today we're going to turn our attention to things that help. And I want to just briefly go into my first time actually accessing things that helped me. And as I had a discussion with my surgeon actually on the podcast recently, and said, the funny thing was when I was diagnosed, I was in my 40s and I had my first hip replaced when I was in my mid 40s. And I felt like, I'm way too young for this. Like, I'm just way too young. And I was so resistant, which now, like they say, you get older, you get wiser. But I was so resistant. And I remember getting this list of things that I needed for post-surgery to help me. And I refused to go to the store. So my at the time, 80-year-old father went to the store. And, he was in great health at the time. And he walked in and he had a list of things. And he goes, it's not for me, it's for my daughter. And he came home with all of these things that, like I say, at the time, and I think that there's a mental thing to get past the first time you actually need to accept that these things are there to help you. So I accepted them eventually, and I still have some of those things. And even though that particular issue I had was solved, I still use them. So you like to use the word toolbox. So let's put together, a toolbox for people that need help.
Well, Sharon, thanks for being so vulnerable, and because you're not alone in what you just said. And as a therapist that ran an integrative health clinic for 30 years, I saw this on my tables each and every day. It's not just a mental or physical, but it's a mental thing as well. And accepting help is part of the issue, and changing that mindset. So I've spent my career literally creating toolboxes.
There you go. That's a toolbox.
That's a toolbox. Really stock, depending on your issue, to stock your toolbox so that you can feel empowered. Now, options to consider. You're not going to use all these tools all the time, but you can layer tools. That's something I love to talk about. There isn't just one quick fix, one quick pill. It has to be a myriad of things, and you've got to find out the formula that works for you, and you know your body best. So I'm really excited to dive into some of these tools that I put into the hands. Now, let me clarify this. Some of these tools you can go out and get, at your store immediately and purchase it and put it into place right away. Others, you might need to see a therapist to have that kind of treatment, but knowledge is power. I mean, you might not know about some of the things I've told you about. And some of these things also, Health Canada recognized devices that can be covered by some extended health insurance companies. And I think that's really important to recognize, because some of the barriers to access are what keeps us from trying things that could really make a difference. So I'm here to help you and your viewers and listeners to stock their toolbox. And if they need an estimate for insurance, reach out to me. If you have questions, not just on the podcast, reach out. I want to be able to help stock people's toolboxes. I do this with everyday people and corporations alike. So know that some of these tools are, like you said, can do at home, others not. But knowing is really important so that you can ask those questions and find the tools that work best for you.
All right. Well, let's dig in the toolbox.
Okay, so one of the first things, and I've been using this for years and years and years, and I love it because it's safe, it's effective, it's a company that's been around for many, many years. You can put it on topically, you can take it orally. It's something called Arnicare.
Oh, I know this one.
I've probably given you some of this. Arnica montana, the plant, is actually a natural anti-inflammatory, and we certainly know rheumatoid arthritis is an inflammatory condition along with so many other conditions in the body. Rubbing this on topically over a joint or a muscle that's sore can be incredibly helpful. It doesn't have a scent, so you're not walking around smelling like something when you go to work. But I put mine in the fridge. It's actually cold because I pulled it out of there. What I love about this, whether it's in children, so juvenile arthritis, whether it's your seniors and everybody in between, it's safe and effective and something that I love to use. And even for bruising and inflammation. Yeah, you can also take it orally. There are little pellets and dissolvable tablets that you can put underneath, and that it can be taken alongside your medications safely and effectively. So that is something that you can get at your store, in the pharmacy or in the natural value section at your local supermarket. And it's something that I love to have in. I didn't bring out here, but another topical that I love to use is stuff with magnesium in it, magnesium creams. Because magnesium can play so many roles in the body, but certainly with musculoskeletal health, it's really, really important. So Arnicare is the first thing on our toolbox, in our toolbox. The next thing, and I get so excited about this because I've put this into the hands of so many people. And I'm proud to say that I know the inventor. He's Canadian. And when he came to me over, probably 12 years ago now, and was telling me about this spike technology, I was all ears. And they were originally using this closed foam formulation for absorbing impact in sporting equipment. But my head immediately went to the healthcare benefits that this could have. Here we are 12 years later. And as you said so eloquently earlier, Sharon, science evolves, technologies evolve, and we as healthcare professionals need to be open-minded and evolve with it. So I'm going to show you, this is called Spike, and this is a mat. It comes in 2 different sizes. You're going to see, I'm going to try to get close to the camera. There's all these nubs, and they move in 365 degrees, and you'll see that it's a network, all interconnected. It even has suction cups on the back. This has got over 50 global patents. This is not like any rubber mat that you would find anywhere. And why is it different? When you stand, sit, or lie on Spike, because you can sit, there's also a cushion that you can have in your car or at your desk. I'm going to talk about the benefits in a moment, as well as insoles. We'll talk about those. But let's talk about the technology. Those spikes moving, and I don't love the name Spike.
No, it sounds painful.
Exactly, because it sounds painful. But the nubs, it's not painful. It's heavenly when you stand on it. It acts as a shock absorber. It diffuses pressure over a larger surface area, taking pressure often off a nerve or a joint that's inflamed and in pain. And when we stand, sit, or lie on Spike, we increase circulation, which is critically important for bringing oxygen to tissue, for healing, for prevention of things like bed sores after surgery. So when I can use this in a wide range of ways from all different aspects. We use Spike with people with arthritis. I stand on it when I'm cooking. It's a shock absorber. It feels amazing on the feet. It helps with proprioception and balance. Training after having neuro retraining and balance training after a hip replacement. Laying on it after surgery when you have a sore hip, when you're recovering from surgery, putting it under your sheet and lying on it can be a game changer. We sit too often, sedentary, in front of computers, long commutes. This cushion that you can put on has a massive impact on prevention of things like sciatica, or when you have degenerative diseases like arthritis or other things. It's a game changer. And then the inventors worked with a group of podiatrists to make these insoles with the same type of technology that can be put inside your shoe and cut to the size. Amazing padding, preventing things like plantar fasciitis and heel spurs, and or if you've got arthritic toes. And it's you do.
I do.
But what I love about all of these Spike technology products is that they're accessible, they're inexpensive. I've even had some people get it covered through their extended health insurance. I mean, these are $35, Sharon.
Wow, that's it, eh?
Wow. That's, and I'm telling you, the feedback from thousands of patients over the last 10 years that I have had, and from practitioners alike, because we're using this clinically, like I said, to work on balance, putting it in showers in seniors' homes.
Oh, that's smart.
Falls and fracture prevention, or after surgery, rehabbing after for your balance and proprioception. It's a game changer. Or I know you love to do yoga, putting two together and doing your yoga poses to reduce the pressure on inflamed joints is a game changer. The smaller mats are only, I think, $54.95 plus tax. The bigger ones are $59.95, and the bigger ones are $69.95. So they're really accessible, hence why many people buy them as gifts, which is incredible. So if people want information about that, and if they want them shipped to their door, make sure they reach out, because I can get them a discount code so that they can get some money off of shipping, which is always nice too.
Oh, that's good. And we're going to be putting up in the show descriptions, wherever you're watching or listening, we'll have notes there for you.
Perfect. I love that. Yeah, it's really important to me. This, in this next phase of my career, it's about educating, but it's also about putting people into action and implementing the education. And I'm here to support you, as well as our team of ambassadors, doctors, surgeons, physios, massage therapists, naturopaths. So with tools like this, patients can let their practitioners know. And if that practitioner has wants to know about it, by all means, have them reach out to me, because the more people that know about these things, the more you can stock your toolbox, the healthier people living with arthritis will be. Okay, so this Peel and Stick Wellness. Now, I'm super excited about this. And Sharon, you have not seen this one. And because this is brand spanking new to the masses, but has had lots of money spent on research. It's been around for a very long time. And I'm going to explain this Peel and Stick patch. This is a non-transdermal patch. What does that mean? There's nothing coming in or out of this patch. No chemicals. It's a nanocrystalline structure. And there's different patches for different reasons. This one happens to be called the foundational patch. It's a stem cell patch. As a therapist, I've talked a lot over the years about the use of red light therapy. You might have heard about red light therapy to help with inflammation. And it's fantastic. And it's becoming more accessible, but it costs money, and you have to go there and you have to spend the time to sit in front of the red light therapy. We have our own infrared heat and light in our bodies. When you peel and stick this patch on the back of your neck, or if you're using other patches in other areas on acupuncture points, that nanocrystalline structure takes your own internal infrared heat and light, refracts it back off of the patch in at a certain wavelength. This is where we talk about physics. One of our ambassadors who you should have on the show, who's a eye doctor, because of arthritis, can impact the eyes in a big way, reverts back into the body. So it refracts it back into the body to the mitochondria, where it stimulates tricopper peptide, which in return activates are stem cells. Now, what's a stem cell? A dormant stem cell. A stem cell is a non-differentiated cell. What does that mean? It means it's a cell that we have in our bodies that can make any type of cell we need. A bone cell, a brain cell, a muscle cell. However, here's the catch. By the time we're 60, 80 to 90% of our stem cells have gone dormant. They're not gone, they've just gone to sleep. Well, what this patch, which just won a biotech award, which is so cool. This is the future of medicine, making it accessible to the masses. What it does is, because it stimulates tricopper peptides, it wakes up those dormant stem cells so they get back to work, reversing gene expression to a more youthful state, reducing inflammatory markers, reducing pain. And I got to tell you, Sharon, Dr. Christy Prowse, a good friend, the ambassador, hormonal health doctor and functional medicine doctor, introduced me to this over a year and 3 months ago. I will not talk about something unless I've tried it, seen the science, tried it on patients. I have seen jaw-dropping results, not only with results with myself and my family, but my patients as well. One in particular with arthritis, another one with cerebral palsy. Game changer. So this is the foundational patch, but there's other patches as well. One Aeon patch, which is for inflammation, and you can layer patches. And what I like about it, you literally peel, stick, and you wear it for 12 hours on and 12 hours off. Why do we not want it on the whole time? Because you don't want your body to acclimatize to it. So you put it on for 12 hours, set your phone because you'll forget about it, and take it off 12 hours later. And what the research says is you should wear it for 1 month per decade of life that you've been on the planet. So I'm almost 60. So 6 months, give it a try. But I will tell you this, there are some people that are one patch wonders, but the body has its natural own intelligence, and we need to give it time to heal. Just like it takes time for things to get worse, to get sicker, to get worse, we have to give our body time to adjust. But when we give it the right environment and the right tools, it can adjust. So this patch is something that people are going to hear a lot more about. And I've written a blog about it. People can go check my website out. But if you want more information about that, this is something that you're going to hear more about. And I'm happy to connect people about it.
That was fascinating. That's
right.
I know.
Yeah. And also accessible from a financial perspective. It's not crazy expensive. Stem cell therapy is on the horizon. It's medicine 3.0, but most people don't have access to, a lot of places aren't doing it yet, but if they are, it's incredibly expensive and it's not accessible to the average person. Yes, this costs money, but it's not outrageous amounts of money. People are going through Starbucks and buying a $6 coffee that they latte with sugar and all the things that don't help them. But when you tell them that $4 for a patch, I'll tell you, they don't say, oh, that's too much when they're seeing the benefits. So exactly. This is something you want to think about.
And the name of that again?
So this is called the X39. So it's a foundational patch. But there's other ones as well, the Aeon, AEON. But do reach out to me so that I can send information so that we'll put it in the show notes. So you're going to get the accurate information from the source. I'm blessed to be working with a team of doctors who are in connection with the person that created this and won the biotech award. There's been 20 years of research and money going into creating this type of thing, but it's only now coming to the mass public. And this is medicine 3.0 moving forward, preventative and regenerative and longevity medicine, right? We're not just looking at waiting till we're broken. We're looking at how do we help with aging and age reversal, longevity medicine, so we thrive through every age and stage. So I wanted to share that. The other thing that's hot off the press, and I mean hot, and I'm one of the Canadian team to bring it to Canada. And so we're going to have to put a picture on the screen to show you because I don't even have the vessel yet. I don't have the vessel yet, but it's coming in the next 4 to 8 weeks. There is a tremendous amount of research being done in molecular hydrogen from the Molecular Hydrogen Institute. And Dr. Tyler LeBaron, the Molecular Hydrogen Institute, has worked collaboratively with the founder of this company called Lumivitae that is looking at the role molecular hydrogen can play in our health and in our lives. Molecular hydrogen is the smallest molecule in the body. And why does that matter? Because it allows it to pass the blood, brain, and the gut barrier, so that when we take in molecular hydrogen, for example, in water, that it can actually be absorbed. What is one of the biggest things that impact people's pain and inflammation in their body? Lack of hydration. We can drink till the cows come home. And hydration is critical for musculoskeletal health. But if we're not truly being hydrated, and once again, this is about our infrared light in our bodies. There was a spark of light when we were conceived. That light dims when we take our last breath. This is quantum physics and science. But now with molecular hydrogen and this new bottle that's a carried vessel, patented, the only one of its kind, we truly believe this is going to be the apple of wellness. It's a vessel, dual chamber vessel with the electrolysis chamber that allows water to become molecular hydrogen water. So incredible water that will be absorbed into the membrane of the cell to see massive changes in inflammation, pain, skin, all of it. And you get to carry it with you. It is just coming new to the world, and we're launching it here in Canada. And I'm so excited to be part of the team, to be getting it out to medical professionals, but to everyday people. And in fact, there's people now, because it's not even out, there's actually a discount for people to get it before they get it in their hands, and it will go up. And I'm happy to give you the link so they can get that reduced price, but then you have it forever and you can use this to take on your way. And so that is something to layer on with the other tools like the patch and the other things we're talking about. So one of my favorite tools that I'm highly trained in, and I've used for, the better part of 11 years now, this is called the MPS Dolphin, Microcurrent Point Stimulation Therapy Device. This, yes, or Dolphin for short, or MPS therapy for short. Kind of looks like a television converter, doesn't it, or a remote. This is a Health Canada approved Class 2 medical device that I can put in the hands of my patients to use for home use. However, I'm also highly trained in it as a clinician to use this during my treatments. What does this do? It's needleless acupuncture. That's key. So people that have aversion to needles, acupuncture is well documented in science and what it can do for inflammation, for pain, for healing and recovery in the body. But this is needleless acupuncture. That little probe, if you can see, doesn't penetrate the skin, but it's combined with microcurrent. Now, for years in rehab, we use TENS machines. And I got to tell you, I am a curious person and clinician. My mother, and she'll watch this, Sharon, she'll laugh and validate. I was the why kid. Every time a question was raised, I'd say, why? Or why? Well, in therapy as well, for years when using the TENS machine, I would notice patients initially often would get better. Their symptoms would improve. But then I saw a trend where they would stay the same and plateau, and often would then worsen over time. And I'd ask every professor I knew, every researcher, why? Why is that? They didn't have an answer. And here's why. This was the go-to standard of care in a lot of rehab circles. TENS machines are well known. And as you said, when we know better, we should do better. But they didn't have an answer. And then this came along. What the difference is between the Dolphin and the TENS machine is that this is needleless acupuncture combined with it, microcurrent like the TENS machine, but here's a differentiating factor. This has direct current, which mimics the current in our body, unlike TENS machines is alternating current. Now you got to go back to high school and think of, Ohm's law. And remember, we have a circuit in our body. We're electrical circuits. And when this was compared side by side with a TENS machine, I got my answer. The TENS machine can upregulate the autonomic nervous system, increase inflammation, increase oxidative stress, and therefore that's what I was seeing clinically. Whereas this puts you into parasympathetics, It works on the autonomic nervous system, putting you into parasympathetics, your rest and digest, where inflammatory markers go down, where cortisol goes down, where your nervous system is better regulated. And layering it with acupuncture, there comes with a protocol book. I should have brought my book here, but it shows you literally paint by numbers where you put the device. Notice on the back, Sharon, there is polarities, positive, negative, and biphasic. The way I teach this to patients is anything you want to take away, pain, inflammation, a fever, anxiety, you put on negative. Things that you want to boost, your immunity. Somebody's had a stroke and they've got drooping or their nervous system isn't working properly and they've got paralysis. You've just had a cold and you want to boost your immunity. You treat on positive. And the biphasic is a game changer when using two dolphins to see a therapist like me, which is so relevant for arthritic patients because I've treated so many after hip replacements, after knee replacements to do scar release work. There's a lot of evidence-informed research by having one on negative, one on biphasic, a push and pull of the current across the scar changes the quality of the scar, which impacts the nervous system, impacts the lymphatic system, impacts the circulatory system, and literally changes the way that scar functions. You know, Sharon, that scar tissue can actually end up being worse sometimes than the surgery itself from a pain perspective, from a lack of mobility. And what I love most about this is it's covered to use at home. And I've been able to do estimates and put this into thousands of hands of patients. My 83-year-old mother uses this daily to downregulate her nervous system and help with her pain. During the pandemic, they added this attachment to it. And what is this? And you'll probably have heard, this goes on the end of her dolphin. And here's an ear clips that go on her ears. You've probably heard about the vagus nerve. Vagus nerve is the largest nerve in our body, runs from our brainstem, wraps around our esophagus, wanders down. That's what vagus means in Latin. And it serves all of the organs in our body. It's a really important nerve. When the vagus nerve has tone, it decreases inflammation and decreases pain. When it doesn't, we get increase in pain and increase in inflammation. And in the world that we live in, with all kinds of oxidative stress, mental stress, physical stress, environmental stress, it massively impacts the vagus nerve. This, by clipping on the auricular branch of the vagus nerve on both sides, like so, and putting a grounding pad either on your wrist or below your belly button, you can sit and chill, watch Netflix for 10 minutes, read a book for 10 minutes, and this downregulates your autonomic nervous system, stimulates the vagus nerve. It is a game changer with nervous system regulation. And you're going to see a lot of that in the research and on your feed, but this is a class 2 medical device. And I'm telling you, backed in research, and it's a game changer to empower everyday people to get into action. And when people buy this through me, I give a half an hour to an hour free. Here's how to set you up for success so that I can make sure that you're going to feel confident when you're using it. Not that you need that, because just try it. But having someone to rely on to coach you is really helpful.
That's amazing. Wow. Look at all these gadgets people don't even know are there.
Exactly. And that could be covered often through extended health insurance because it's like a TENS machine. And, all you need to know is the fact that it exists, but also have someone like me to make sure that we can put it in the hands of others. And then last but not least, I don't have it here because it's a traveling device. I've had the privilege and honor of collaborating with my colleague, Megan Burmester, who's a sonographer, a brilliant sonographer, who 4 years ago when I sold the clinic, she came to me and said, Marg, I want to show you this device that is going to change the game in musculoskeletal health. You've heard of the DEXA, the OHIP covered bone mineral density test. That currently, unless you're high risk, we don't qualify to get a DEXA till we're 65. I think actually the standard's now gone up to 70. Well, people living with arthritis that are on things like steroids, which can wreak havoc on the quality of our bone, The DEXA, the current gold standard, which has been around for 40 years, only looks at bone mineral density, how much bone you have. This new technology called the REMS, radio frequency echographic multispectrometry, that's why we call it REMS for short, REMS, is a new innovation in bone health. And what it does through ultrasound, not x-ray, so there's no radiation, 21 and older, so you can do this earlier preventatively. We know peak bone mass happens at around the age of 30, and we lose bone as we age. But here's what the mounting research is saying, Sharon. It's not just the quantity of your bone, your T-score, that's the best predictor of whether you might have a fragility fracture, but rather the microarchitecture and the bone quality and strength of your bone. Until this device, the REMS, the OsteoSound REMS, there was no way to look at bone quality in real time. And here's what I know as a therapist. Bone quality and bone health is silent until we fracture. And then we're sent to get a DEXA. But what if we know earlier what our bone is looking like, our quantity and our quality? And here's the cool thing. Quality is linked to lifestyle, which is in our control. Things like, are we eating enough protein? Are we having an anti-inflammatory diet? Are we doing resisted progressive weight training? Are we getting enough sleep? What's our guts like? What's our hormone like? Our sleep. That can impact our bone quality in our 40s, 50s, 60s, and 70s. But the current OHIP covered standard, the minute you have a T-score of minus 2.5 standard deviation away from a normal, healthy 30-year-old bone, you're going to be told you have osteoporosis. You might also have osteoarthritis, and they're going to offer a bisphosphonate or Prolia. Now, I'm not against pharmacology, but when we know better, we should do better. And the research is saying that it's bone quality that's more important, which is linked to our lifestyle. Well, now we have a medical device, Health Canada approved, World Health Organization recognized, and in 3.5 short years, Megan and I have brought this to over 4,500 Canadians, doing lunch and learns for doctors so they know about it. And we come to different communities and corporations, and you can self-refer. You need to know what your bone quality is because knowledge is power, especially if you're on prednisone and other medications that can help, that can actually have a negative impact on bone quality. You want to offset that with your lifestyle, but you don't know your bone quality unless you come and have this test. And here's the neat thing, because we've been lobbying for 4 years, now some insurance companies are covering it as well. And it's a $200 test. It's not crazy expensive, and some insurance companies are covering it. So the REMS is critical. Go get your bones checked early. And while you're having treatment with arthritis, get into the driver's seat of your health. I was really excited to see that your surgeon was on, because he actually talked about the REMS on his podcast. And we're really excited. I want to offer him a REMS so that he can really understand, because this is new to Canada, but it's been in Europe since 2009. Not new. I truly believe it will become standard of care in the next years to come.
It's amazing, though, the way medicine is evolving. And that's what I say, though, when people, I always say, we have a lot of power in our hands as far as you can Google something, you can search something, but it's that things are constantly changing. And I don't know about you, but I've gotten to the point when I Google something and information comes up, and the first thing I look at is the date. And, oh, well, that was relevant 10 years ago. I'm sure it's still, some of it's relevant, but that's not the latest. And we want the latest. We want to know what's happening. And what I love what you do is that you are putting power into the hands of individuals, of course, alongside their professional practitioners. But if you're working together, there's so much we can be doing at home or on our own to continue when we get treatment. We've had surgery, whatever it is we're doing, to take that improved state of health and keep it going rather than just, well, you're done. And then, 10 years later, you're at the doctor again. Now I've got this problem. Okay. If we can minimize that up and down cycle, I think that's really important.
You're so right. And augmenting the care of your conventional medical team is critically important, and offsetting, side effects from things and knowing. And you're absolutely right. Not only knowing the tools, but making sure that you're looking at, how relevant is this? How new is this? where's the source coming from? And this is what the Preventative Health Movement is really making sure we do. We're partnering with people and healthcare professionals. So I don't claim to know all of this, but I know when I can refer to some of these ambassadors to help you get help. And we're doing that, whether it be in the REMS bone scan clinics, whether it be in the events we're doing for PHAM, so that I don't have the clinic anymore, but this, I'm doing it on a much bigger scale. And having podcasts like this to show people that you need to do your homework. You need to be the CEO of your health, but you need to do it in collaboration with your healthcare team and the research. And in fact, we're also in talks with researchers to be taking some of these tools to be really looking at them in a more depth way as well, so that we can bring the validation and so you can push the skepticism aside. I'm a science girl, but please remember this, whether you're a doctor, a surgeon, an everyday Canadian, if we always do what we've always done, we'll always get what we've always got. And sometimes we need to open our mind a little bit, lean in, be judicious. I am not an easy sell. I'm skeptical, but be open, because the minute you say, oh, no, that's not going to work, or that's hogwash, or that's fluff and stuff, you're closing off what could be incredible technologies, tools that could make you live with health span, not just lifespan. Pharmacology has a place, but it can't be the front line of defense and the only thing. So regardless if you're on meds, which you need to be on, methotrexate, say, or you're on prednisone, what else can you do to offset some of those side effects or make you thrive through and with your disease, which is what your podcast is called, Moving Forward with Arthritis. It's so important. So this is why these conversations matter. And this is just a small amount of my tools. You know, 34 years in, I got lots of them, but I thought that would be a good overview today.
Excellent. So as we mentioned earlier, got tons of information for you in the show notes about what we've talked about, what you've heard, what you've seen if you're watching on YouTube. Information about Margaret, because you are a very accessible person. And I know that it's being so accessible, it's just part of your mandate to really empower people.
Yes, absolutely. And, you know, Sharon, we go back a long time in media. And when you first came to me to be on your show many years ago, your heart was that you wanted to do exactly that. You wanted to empower people. And I aligned with that so much. So it's so cool now to see what you're doing and taking your story. And that's what PHAM is about, sharing real stories about real people, but surrounding those real people with community resources so that they can actually put things into action. So cool to be now able to do this with you years later, both of us different phases of our career and doing things. But I can't think of a more important time in history than now for us to help people help themselves.
Perfect. Well, thank you so much for being on again. And I know we're going to be on here again together because we have so much to talk about. So again, check today's show notes. Thank you so much, Margaret. It's always a pleasure to have you here. And I learned a lot today. And for all of you, thank you for joining us today. As always, check out the social media, go to the website, and wherever you like to listen or watch the podcast, please do subscribe, follow, and you'll always be notified when there's a new episode. Thanks again, and we'll see you next time. Until then, keep moving forward